To graph an inequality, we need to get this equation into a graphing form. And to do that, we need to get y by itself. So we need to get into this form, y equals mx plus b. So to do that, I need to move this 3x over. So when I move 3x over, it becomes negative. So I have a negative y less than, and it becomes a negative 3x plus 2. And I'm putting it where the x is first. So that's my positive becomes negative. Now, I have to divide by negative 1 with everything because that's what's in front of the y. So this becomes y, but the sign must switch directions, and so I get 3x minus 2. Now, once we have our in the right form, we're going to go to this number on the graph, so negative 2, which is right here, and then we're going to go up 3 and over 1 because that's what is under, or the slope. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, and there's my second point. And if I connect those 2 points, I have my graph. Now, the difference between inequalities and equal signs, that's an equal sign graph, is that because we can't equal that line because there's no line underneath there, I need to dot or dash this line. So to do that, I'm going to dash the line because it can't equal that line. And now here is the other new part. I'm going to put a number into the equation to see if it's true. So the number I'm going to always put in is I'm going to try to use 0. So if I put 0 in for y, and I put 0 in for x, and I get a negative 2, so 0 times 3, I have 0 or greater than negative 2. Is that true or false? If it is true, then this side of the line gets colored or shaded in. If it's false, I would shade on the other side. And the reason I'm shading is because I'm shading the 0. See, there's the 0 right here. So I'm shading where it is true. That means any point where I see green would work, and any point that's not green would not work, because 0 works. 0 is true. So we're going to start off, we want to graph the inequality. So I need to get y equals mx plus b. So I want to get into this form. To do that, I'm going to take the x and move it over. And so I have a 5y less than or equal to a negative x plus 10. Then I have to divide everything by 5. And because I'm dividing everything by a positive number, the sign does not change directions. So this becomes a negative 1/5 x, because that 1 in front of the x, plus 2. Once I have, I'm going to go to this on the y line, so a positive 2 this time, so I put my dot. And I'm going to go down 1 because of that, so I'm going to go down 1 and over 5. So I go down 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I put my second dot. This time we do have an equal sign, so I'm going to draw my line, and it's not going to be dotted. And now I'm going to do my test. I'm going to test this number. So I'm going to put 0 less than or equal to 0 plus 2, which is really 0 less than 2. Is that true or false? In this case, it happens to be true again. So this part of this side of the line gets colored in or shaded because 0 is true. So when we have an inequality that doesn't have a y, we want to solve this by using a graph. So in this case, I'm going to solve this equation for x. So I'm not moving anything over. So I move my, well, I am moving it, but I'm going to move my 5 over, which becomes a negative 5. And negative 5 and 14 is 9 and 3x. And so then I divide by 3, and so x is less than 3. Now, we have to graph this. So we're going to graph this by going to the 3 now. We're going to the 3 on the x line. So there's my 3, because that's what we have variable. And because there's no line underneath there, I'm going to do a dotted line. And the dotted line is a vertical line. And now we're going to test this 0. So I put 0 in, and is 0 less than 3? It is true. And so we're going to shade to that 0. So sometimes you get a line that's vertical, and sometimes you get one horizontal based off of this graph.